Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm just reading my new favorite book, The First Hippo on the Moon by David Walliams with illustrations by Tony Ross. And thank you for coming and watching my first assignment for contemporary children's literature. The author, David Walliams, is also an actor. He was on a sketch comedy show called Little Britain. Williams has also been in Britain's Got Talent and has done a lot to raise money for charity. In an interview with Jonathan Ross, David Williams said he was a shy person until he met Matt Lucas, who became his co-star on Little Britain. On the Internet Movie Database, it says that Williams loved reading Roald Dahl when he was a child. What started as an idle choice in a library because he liked chocolate turned into a lifelong love. He got to visit Roald Dahl's house. He met his widow and got to look at a manuscript from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Williams got to work with Dahl's favorite illustrator, Quentin Blake, on two of his own stories. Children's books are his guilty pleasure. He said he loves the beautiful illustrations, the magical worlds you can visit, and the fantastical journey that those words take you on. So that gives you an idea of what David Walliams is all about, who he is, and his appreciation for children's books. Now let's get into his book. Before I get into what makes this book postmodern, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the story. I don't want to give away too much, but essentially it's two hippos who are in a space race to be the first hippo on the moon. Hercules Waldorf Franklin III is rich and pays to have a space station built. The other hippo, Sheila, wasn't rich, but she had her friends. She and her friends from the wild, other animals from the wild, worked together to build a rocket ship out of a tree trunk, vine, and rhinoceros dung. So that's the story. I don't want to give away any more than that. If you'd like to know more, I recommend reading the book, The First Hippo on the Moon. Now let's get into what makes this book postmodern. In What's Up With Our Books by Betty Goldstone, postmodern books are described as often being self-referential, meaning the story recognizes that it's in a book. Often the pages are used to fly around on, and the characters may jump right out of the story. On page 2, it says, one enormously rich hippo, Hercules Waldorf Franklin III, paid for a gigantic hippo space center to be built to blast him there. Sheila didn't. Yes, the other hippopotamus's name was Sheila. That's the first time within the story that they're referring directly to the reader. But then they do it again on that same page, but further down. But Sheila, said her giraffe friend, you don't have a space rocket. Then we'll make one, Keith, Sheila replied. Yes, the giraffe's name was Keith. By referring to the reader like that, it automatically will prompt a young person to laugh because they realize that there's a joke there and the author is almost giving them an opportunity to laugh. And it's just fun. It also does lots of fun things with text, including using comic book style bubbles for when people are speaking. Different sizes of fonts are used and the text seems to go in all different directions. It's almost as if the images and the text were created by children. And I think that's what they were going for. It probably makes children feel more at home, more comfortable to think that this work, these books are created by at least adults who think like children. And I think that's the appeal. David Walliams includes a running joke between two porcupines. It's a conversation between the two of them that adds an element that you don't always get. It's a little thing, but it's sort of like a joke just for kids. And I'm sure that kids who have read this book watched for them after they noticed it on the first page or maybe the second page. And it's something fun. It encourages children to pay attention and watch for the hidden fun element that not everybody would see. I love it. I think it's great. Betty Goldstone also wrote that postmodern picture books contain jokes that are present in the images but not in the text. Readers must be as alert to the illustrations as they are to the text. Sheila's friends got to work building her a rocket. Quick as you can! Well, you could help me, dear. That's kind of the one porcupine's fun line. It's always saying dear, and I was picturing the voice of a little old lady for that porcupine, like somebody's mother constantly saying, "Come on, dear, come along, let's go, dear, faster, dear." Another element that makes this a postmodern, contemporary children's literature book is the crude humor. You wouldn't see this kind of humor in books written more than, say, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I already mentioned the ostrich that has to collect the rhino dung for the rocket. And there's also a scene further on in the book where the hippo crashes to the earth and all of her friends think that she has died. Sheila? Wake up! Oh, it's sad, isn't it? Tragic, dear. But she wouldn't wake up. This was the saddest day the jungle had ever seen. Then out of the silence came a sound. The distinctive sound of a bottom burp. All the animals stared at each other. Who would dream of letting one go at such a sad time? Another one, longer and louder than the first. It was Sheila. What's that awful smell? Oh, it's made my eyes water. Try and breathe through your mouth, dear. The hippopotrump was so thunderous she woke herself up. In Pamela Hellman's article, The Role of Postmodern Picture Books in Art Education, she wrote that postmodern picture books are often playful, have jokes, puns, or irony. Many children's books wink past the child reader to the adult beyond, or wink past the adult to the child. Using crude humor is just another way that the author and the illustrator speak to children on their level. And I think kids like that. Although the first Hippo on the Moon has all of those elements that make it postmodern, its message is still a very old-fashioned one. The message of this book is that even if you're not rich, you can still be successful, as long as you have friends in your corner who will help you along the way.